let's quickly jump to the next important topic, exam. In this topic, let's understand about the different types of questions that we get to see during the PMP exam. The changes within the exam content. Every profession keeps changing, guys. Every profession keeps evolving itself. New technologies emerge, new working styles come up, new expectations from the customers every day. So we cannot keep on repeating the old traditional times, old traditional methods to solve today's problem. As they say it, modern problems require modern solutions. So PMI respects this approach of evolution. With this, it doesn't disregard the traditional ways, though, right? So it has both traditional ways and the new ways. We should all still have to know and beware of what those traditional ways are. That is why we should not disregard the PMBOK 6th edition. I consider that you all know that there are two latest editions, PMBOK Guide 7th edition, PMBOK Guide 6th edition. The 6th edition is more focused towards traditional ways, and the 7th edition that is required for the exam is more focused towards introducing agile ways and scrum ways and stuff like that. So we should have an understanding of both these books. We should understand and we should follow both PMBOK Guide 7 and PMBOK Guide 6 in order to pass the exam. PMI has changed its exam content. Okay, so maybe I'm a little too harsh in the statement, or I could rephrase it like PMI has regrouped its exam content. It makes more sense. The PMI exam will now be focusing the assessment of its students in 3 different domains now: people, process, and business environment. We'll be learning about these domains much in depth in the next lecture, but for now, just be aware the scope of this exam. The last domain, business environment, has the least number of tasks in it. As you see, it's only 10%, so we may expect roughly 14 to 15 questions from this domain in the complete exam. The process domain is the biggest of all. Around 90 plus questions might come in this section. So half of the exam will be in this domain itself, but you have to be giving a lot of time for this. The rest 75, 76 questions are going to be from people domain, also a huge area to focus. So what I would recommend, I encourage you all to please go through the PMP exam content outline document, which is available in the PMI website. You can download it from free. So all this new stuff can be clarified much better. Question types. Now, what are the different question types that we get to see in this exam? Typically, there are 5 ways in which we could get questions. Let's try and understand each one of them. First thing is drag and drop. One of the questions could be drag and drop type of question. And what happens here? You may be asked a question about project management and to answer it in a sequence of steps that we would follow to answer it. An example would be like, what would be your next steps as a project manager? And we have to arrange these options in a particular sequence. Take the project life cycle, for example. Let's say PMI asks us to arrange the different phases of project life cycle in the correct order. So we will have to drag them, and arrange the words in the right sequence to answer this question. The image we see here on the right, it's a prototype that we could find in the PMI website. They have illustrated the drag and drop with an example of matching the correct words. So this is also one style of asking drag and drop. So here we need to match the 5 processes that we see in blue with the process groups that we see in orange. Like identifying the stakeholders will go into the initiating group in this example, planning the engagement to the planning group, etc. This could also be one of the ways to ask the drag and drop questions. So these type of questions are gaining more and more popularity in PMP these days. So we can find at least 10 to 12 such questions in this style. And just a quick tip before we move to the next step, you make sure that before the exam, you learn all the 49 processes by heart. This helps a lot during the exam. You can see this question example itself is, if you know these processes against the process groups, you will be able to answer such questions quite easily. Next question type is the hotspot. This is also a new addition to the type of questions in this exam, and we get to see at least 7 to 8 questions in this exam. As you can see here in the example from PMI, one of the ways they can ask the questions is to identify the area where the cost will spike the most. Similarly, different types of questions can be asked. Identify the area where the cost is the least, or identify the spot where the risk could be the highest. Identify the location where highest monetary benefits can be expected from the project. So typically there will be a graph like this that we see on the screen, but it is not just limited to this style. So we could also see some blocks on a chart, and we have to identify the right block, or there could be a process tree. You can imagine a process tree where you have to identify the correct location of the right process to be the right answer. The next type of question is a very common multiple choice question. We typically get more than 3 options for a question, and we have to select one of the right answers from that list. This is also snip from the PMI official website for example questions. You can find such example questions in this website. Majority of the questions from the PMP exam are going to be these type of questions. So, expect at least 50-60% of the questions to be in this MCQ style. Moving on, multiple answer questions. This is also growing its popularity in the PMP exams. You can see on the example given here that the question specified clearly that there are 3 correct choices from this list of 5 possible answers. Sometimes this hint won't be given. They won't tell that there are 3 right answers. It would just say more than one answer is possible. To me, this would be the most difficult question type in the complete exam, because we never know out of 5 options that we have whether 2 are right or 3 are right or 4 are right, or are all the answers right. So we could for sure select the options that we are really sure about, but the options where we are a bit ambiguous, we might think towards not selecting the option, and that will be a wrong answer. So there is no way around for this type of questions. Just be prepared really well and know all the stuff that we need to.